Hi, I'm out of darts. I am back with the Rival Artemis here. It took me a little while to actually take it apart. It turns out that the grip here has actually got a clamshell piece that kind of hooks on with some little plastic tabs. I've not seen Hasbro do this before, but I haven't been nerfing for that long, and so I don't know all the blasters. So there might be some more history there, I don't know. But I essentially have had to take a knife and pop the sides of this this grip out. It really makes it a lot more of a pain to do this without damaging the blaster. That is unfortunate. I think I'm going to be having to glue this back on. The deal is that the clamshell for the whole blaster will not come apart without getting the handle off, but the handle's got these front and back pieces that do not want to cooperate with me. I've never seen assembly like this before, and I'm a little scared to just break this. It definitely is one piece as it currently sits. There's a better way to do this. Otherwise, this is not an easy blaster to get open. I mean, literally, I got 3 screwdrivers jammed in here. There's another tab going this way, which looks like it somehow locks in place, but well, there it goes. So, yeah, I can't say I understand the purpose of that. I think it's probably to make sure that the handle is really, really strong, because there's a lot of torque on that when you are really wrenching on it, slam firing, and it's got to be able to, you know, they are aiming this product at 16 plus, you know, a little bit older kids, so I think that's probably something to do with it. Gosh, this second one's going to be just as bad. Okay, well, that was not the cleanest way, but I did get this finally out now. And I'm losing, you know, screws go flying as usual. It's always a problem. When I normally mod blasters for commissions or anything, I really like to tape the screws in place with some little pieces of painter's tape. It makes it really easy. So now we finally got one half of the shell off. So inside this blaster, we've got some familiar gears and a pretty simple operation. There goes everything else. I'm going to put the camera on a close-up here and we can kind of look at stuff over my shoulder. So here I finally got the blaster open, and you can see we've got really familiar sliding gears with a rolling gear that in theory, I'm not going to prime this all the way back because I think that kind of stuff's going to keep happening, but works just like everything else. You've got a safety back here and a pretty standard catch on the slide. Obviously we've got our plunger tube here, which is surprisingly small but does look wider. Now I'm going to see how difficult this is to actually take out. Very easy. So there we've got our cylinder, and that's got four tubes, 4 barrels, ball seats in each one of these as it goes around and then fires when it hits the bottom. See a nice big O-ring and seal here, so that's pretty cool. I'm assuming that's going to make a pretty nice seal. Now the plunger itself is a little wider than the Apollo, but it's actually shorter. I'm kind of amazed because the performance seems very similar to the Apollo. I haven't chronographed it yet, but since they put numbers on the box, I sort of didn't bother at this point, but I will do that later. But yeah, we've got a little bit of a smaller plunger tube, the assembly, than the other one. And of course, we've got the slam fire mechanism so that when you hold down the trigger, which I've now ejected, we've got slam fire. But that's the internals. These tubes, I was hoping they came out easier in case I wanted mod. Oh, they might. Not as easy as I'd hoped. It looks like these tubes themselves are actually part of how it seats in here and slides. So I think if I want to do any modifications here, I'm going to have to just cut away the tubes, because that extra space that's down up in here is definitely for the plunger assembly. So there's not quite as much room in here as for, you know, like a hopper or mods that I was thinking, but it still could be possible. I'll certainly try something. Anyway, I will answer questions in the comments if anybody has any, and I will also post some photos up on Reddit of the internals just to see. Overall, I'm still super impressed with this. It definitely is the best functioning manual blaster that Hasbro has made in the Rival line, because it seems to work. I shot a couple hundred rounds through it. It hasn't jammed or anything weird like that. Unlike the Atlas, which I love playing with, especially with the hopper mod I've got coming in a future video here. But it just tends to jam a lot. And that's kind of a pain, because some of the jams require like disassembling the blaster and whatnot, where I haven't seen that happen yet here. And then you got Slamfire and obviously 30 rounds, which is very cool. So additionally, I just noticed while I was putting this back together that the turning mechanism on the Prime is something I haven't seen in a Nerf blaster, but I saw in somebody else's 3D printed design. It basically has a slide here, nub, that goes through this channel forward and backwards. And I'm probably mistaken. I'm sure there's probably another Nerf blaster that has this. I just haven't seen it before. So I think that's pretty neat, because that kind of channel can take a lot of torque compared to some little small ring like you'd see on the Cyclone Shock or the Strong Arm or a Hammer Shot, etc. So I think that's pretty kind of a neat thing, and I think it'll probably be a pretty durable blaster too. Let's hope.
Test. 97, 99, 93, 90, 95, 94, 90, 94. So I would actually say 82. That one was a little lower. I would actually say this is probably the better of all the blasters as far as being close to that 100 feet per second. So I just figured out one other thing here. You can have a ball primed in the chamber ready to go, and you can go then start loading, but you can still fire. This ability to fire up to a couple rounds without stopping loading. So you could be sitting here loading and shooting, which is my favorite play style. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have more questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as I can. And I'll keep you updated if I do anything new with this in the future. Until next time, I'm out of darts.